Hi, I'm Andrew Dobbs, the Program Director with Texas Campaign for the Environment. Taking a minute here today to talk to you about why we are opposed to the city's so-called one bin for all proposal and why we believe that it's bad for the environment. This is going to be a shorter presentation. If you're really interested in this topic, I encourage you to watch our longer presentation, which is just under an hour, that gets into a lot of details about this project. So let's go ahead and start. Why is one bin for all bad for the environment? Well, first off, the context here is that Houston has a very low diversion rate, well below the national average, well below a lot of other communities in Texas. And the city itself says that the mayor is besieged by citizens who want recycling in their neighborhoods. So to address this, the city announced last year that they're applying for a grant from the Bloomberg Mayor's Challenge with something called one bin for all. The idea is to get rid of all separate recycling collection in the city of Houston and tell everybody to throw their recycling in with their garbage, mix it all in the same can, and we're going to build a new facility that's going to be able to treat and process this, sort it out into recycling and trash. The problem with this is obvious. When you mix clean recyclables in with dirty trash, it comes out dirty. Wet plus dry equals wet. Clean plus dirty equals trash. And this contamination robs us of value. Recyclables are only valuable, a lot of recyclables are only valuable when they are clean and dry. This is especially true of cardboard and paper. Dirty MRFs produce bad cardboard and paper. This stuff is either not marketable at all, or when it is marketable, it's only marketable at a much lower price because it's dirty. In 2002, the Royal Society of Chemistry reported that dirty MRFs get about 10 to 30% diversion. The national average is 34%, so that's pretty low, and the yield of products is of a lower marketable quality. Now you might be saying, oh, that was 2002, that was 11 years ago. Certainly things are better now. Actually, they're probably worse, if anything. This is because of a policy that China has instituted called the Green Fence. China is the main market for recyclable materials from the United States, and they have said that they do not want dirty materials anymore. What the Christian Science Monitor reported was that cities and towns across the U.S. and Europe are finding that there is no ready market in China for poorly sorted and impure bales of plastics, paper, and other waste. Now, these are recyclables from source-separated sources. This is not from dirty MRFs. Dirty MRFs make this problem even worse. Most of that stuff will not be marketable as recyclables. And this is why dozens of dirty MRFs across the United States and Canada have failed over the years. But how can they make these claims? How can they promise us that they're going to get 75% diversion? The answer is easy. They're going to incinerate it. And dirty MRFs have historically been associated with incineration. In fact, the formal EPA definition refers to incineration technologies in its definition. Others of these facilities have been associated in the past with incineration facilities. You can't sell people on incinerators anymore. Nobody wants an incinerator in their neighborhood. So they use a variety of euphemisms. They'll call them waste energy, thermal processes, conversion technologies. In this instance, they actually go so far as to call it recycling and a new, innovative, transformative technology. It's not. It's waste burning. The one bin for all proposal is in fact a waste burning proposal. They put out a request for qualifications, an RFQ, earlier this year, and in that they actually say we don't want any incineration, we don't want any combustion. But in the very same section, in the next sentence over from that, they ask for gasification and catalytic conversion, a form of pyrolysis technologies to be used. The EPA defines both pyrolysis and gasification as incineration. Despite what the city of Houston wants to claim, the federal law considers these incineration. Europe, where these facilities have actually been tried, considers them to be incineration. And all of the firms that we know have bid on this project so far are involved with waste incineration. Gasification and pyrolysis are problematic technologies. First off, they don't work. There have been over 100 gasification, pyrolysis, plasma arc, and other advanced incineration projects proposed around the United States, and not a single one of them has been built. These facilities have the same pollution problems as, and I should say, not a single one has been built at a commercial scale on municipal solid waste. So what the City of Houston wants has never been done. The City of Houston will be a guinea pig if they take up this project. These facilities have the same pollution problems as traditional incineration. The European Commission says that the emissions levels to air from these processes are the same as those established for incineration installations. So it's the same level of emissions as a traditional incinerator. We had one in Roma Lane, California in 2006 that actually had higher emissions rates than the mass burn incinerators in town. And you just just had to have one shut down in Scotland. These technologies are also very expensive. 2010, a consulting firm, R.W. Beck, did a report for the city of San Antonio. Found that, so a very similar economic situation than where Houston is at, found that these types of pyrolysis and gasification facilities would cost anywhere from $230 to $500 million to build. So $250 to $500 million to build the thing, $13 to $25 million a year to operate, and $120 to $160 a ton tipping fees. Right now, the city of Houston pays $20 to $30, so we're talking 4 or 5 times as much as the city of Houston is currently paying for waste. It's outrageous. The city and taxpayers will very likely be on the hook for this. The RFQ, they say that they're going to not build this with any public money, but the RFQ says that that the city might extend tax-exempt financing, 380 agreements, which are loans or grants from the city, that tax incentives or other means of public participation such as tax-exempt bonds. I mean, we're going to be on the hook for this. Not only is it problematic economically, problematic environmentally, it's also an invitation to injustice. Waste facilities in general tend to be in minority communities. They say they want to locate this at an existing facility. These places are all significantly less Anglo than the communities around them. They're predominantly minority communities. The one bin manager said that they wanted to use this to privatize Houston's waste collections force and to actually strip them of their city employee status, strip them of their union, strip them of their benefits, and therefore make a very dangerous job actually less economically secure. And Dirty Murphs have traditionally relied upon low-wage labor at the front end in order to make them work. The great quote here is that in the one in California that the city of Houston has pointed to as an example of what they could possibly do, said that people had to experience all kinds of hazardous waste, but also explosive devices such as aerosol cans, propane cylinders, and the occasional mortar, flare, or hand grenade. This is outrageous. Dirty Murphs, even if all that wasn't the case, right? Even if it wasn't terrible for the environment, an unproven, unsafe, expensive, dangerous technology that poses a huge injustice to the community that's saddled with it, it's still just a bad idea. You know, reduction and reuse are the highest and best use for every product. That's how we really solve our problems. This removes all the incentives to do that. It also gives people the exact wrong message. There is no away that you can throw things to. It is going to somebody's neighborhood. And when you tell people not to think about their discards, we're sending the wrong message. Behind closed doors, the city's sustainability director, Laura Spangen, has said that she doesn't believe that Houstonians and Texans care enough to recycle. And that's just cynical and wrong, and it sets the wrong precedent and says that rather than actually investing the time and getting people to buy into these programs in order to create the jobs, in order to create the wealth that this would entail, that we're just going to give up on them and introduce a polluting new facility. It's outrageous. And this is a PR solution, okay? It threatens to influence other communities in a negative way. So what is the alternative? The alternative is a zero waste future. You always hear people say we have to put it somewhere. No, we don't. We can come up with a variety of public and private, market-oriented, creative solutions in order to eliminate all of our discards. It's something that communities from across the world have pursued already. And in fact, here in Texas, Austin has passed a zero waste plan, Dallas has passed one, San Antonio passed a Pathways to Zero Waste plan, Fort Worth is considering one. Now it's time for Houston to do this, to bring curbside recycling to everybody in Houston, to bring composting, to bring recycling to workplaces and to businesses, to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to do this and to reduce the amount that we're consuming in the first place. This is something that communities across the world, like I said, are already doing. Houston is a world-class city. It's time for them to join this movement also. And so what can you do about this? You can organize your community, activist groups, colleagues, and other networks and express formal opposition to this. You can write letters to your elected officials within the city and address the city council in person on Tuesdays. If you can do that, please give me a call. If you live in Houston, please inform your candidates of how you feel about this and attend candidate forums and put them on the record. And if you're a presenter at South by Southwest Eco, and I'm actually going to send this out to a lot of folks that are doing that or have been in the past, please sign our open letter in opposition to this project. And this is my contact information right here. If you have any concern about this, please give me a call, shoot me an email, visit us online. We would love to have your support on this, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen. This is an important threat to the city of Houston, and we're grateful to have your support on it. Thanks.